All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, April 2nd. I almost said March 2nd, but April 2nd. We have a jam-packed MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm ultimately rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. Last night, we had to work for our coin. Man, oh man, we had a 5, 4, and 2 night. Logan O'Hope, does not end up playing, so those two plays at the end there get voided. Astros money line, I don't know, man. I really don't. Maybe I'm just like seeing the board weird with them because I still think they're better than the Giants, yet we've now lost that 2 games in a row. We'll see if we run it back today. Pirates raise first 5 under. They do get to 6 runs within the first 5. Twins money line cashes. Lamonte Wade cashes. We had the Reds first 5 team total under that cashes, which a lot of people in the comments disagreed with. That was a 1-0 game overall. I put my trust in Nate Eovaldi's hands, and you know what? It came through. We also had the Diamondbacks and Cubs money line as well. Cubs looked good from the jump. Diamondbacks took a big old hit from Suarez in like the 8th inning to take the lead. Logan Gilbert, a bad look, and then Mets team total over 3.5. I don't know if it was a bad look, but obviously a losing look. But like I said, we had to work for our coin yesterday, 5 and 4 night overall. I kind of like it, though. We had some entertainment going, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it's just the most marginal green night, but I was checking scores, watching games like you read about yesterday, and I had a lot of excitement early on in the season. So, you know what? It is what it is. We had a nice night, but like I said, one of those flips the other way. Like if the Pirates raise Astros money line, I feel like 6 and 3 just sounds and looks a hell of a lot better than 5 and 4, doesn't it? But nonetheless, guys, that was yesterday. Let's talk about today. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Absolutely smash that like button. Act like you're going up against a good pitcher and he finally hung one right over the plate and you're trying to put it over the fence. Hit that like button, guys. Let's jump into game number 1 here. Cincinnati taking on Texas. Cincinnati is favored in this spot, and I would say that that's most likely because of the pitching. We have Hunter Green on the bump for Cincinnati in his first start of the season. He didn't look all that terrible. I mean, they didn't get the win, but he went 5 innings pitched, just 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He did let up a home run, but he struck out 8. He's going up against Jack Leiter, who pitched against the Red Sox and honestly looked pretty good, but I think the Red Sox offense is just kind of in a funk right now, so not exactly sure what to make of it. But if I think back to yesterday and why I liked the idea of, Cincinnati's team total under and that type of thing, it was all based on Nate Eovaldi, right? It wasn't based on Texas's bullpen. I didn't love Texas money line, that type of thing. So I do think that I have to reevaluate this one and say, okay, well, I know Jack Leiter looked good in that start, but who do we really trust more? Hunter Green at home or Jack Leiter in Great American Ballpark against a Reds offense that loves to hit fastballs? Yeah, you guessed it. I do think we're going to lean towards Cincinnati here. Both these pitchers are going to just pump fastballs around the plate as well. Jack Leiter, 52% fastballs just a year ago. Cincinnati, we've been talking about it. They love to hit the fastball. You combine the splitter with the cutter with that, you're going to get up to like 55%. So yeah, a lot of high speed pitches from him, and Cincinnati obviously likes to hit those. Same thing on the side of Hunter Green. He's going to throw actually, combining the splitter with the fastball, he's going to throw over 60% of his pitch mix with those 2 pitches, fastball being the one that makes up like 56%. Texas, bottom 5 a year ago in terms of runs above average against the fastball. So that's what it's going to come down to me here. I'm going to look at Cincinnati on the money line. I also don't mind the over. I do think Hunter Green can pitch well. In fact, last time he pitched against this Texas team, he did look really good. It was just a year ago, almost a year ago to I think a year and a couple months. But 7 innings pitched, just 1 hit, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, no earned. So yeah, he looked pretty good against them. He has decent numbers against them overall, mainly from that 160 batting average against. So I don't know if he's going to do that again. I do think Hunter Green, when he's on, he is on. And this Texas lineup still obviously struggling like they won yesterday. in a 1-0 game. Let's not make it like Texas really just grinded and won, like 1-0. Let me be clear. So, yeah, it's not exactly a lock spot, but I do think this could be a Cincinnati spot, but also an over because it is Great American Ballpark. If this is being played in, half the ballparks out there, I wouldn't trust Texas's offense or anything like that, but I do think Cincinnati's offense is a little log-jammed after yesterday, so maybe we pivot just to a Cincinnati team total over if we want to focus on the offense that I kind of trust, because Texas is, like I said, still kind of iffy for me. One player prop spot that I am considering is going to be Marcus Semien under 1.5 bases. Let's see if king of the bases. Shout out to you guys. If you were here last year, we got the self-proclaimed. Actually, you guys kind of proclaimed it, I guess. But the king of the bases when we were taking unders and bases. I like Semien under 1.5 bases here. He's got 3 plate appearances against Green, no hits. So, I mean, that's a small sample size, but it's better than 3 for 3, right? But him against right-handed pitcher, his batting average drops down to 228, ISO down to 135, batting average of balls in play in the 230s. I do worry a little bit about Hunter Green against right-handed batters. His numbers go up a little bit, but his extra base hit percentage drops. So even if Semien goes out there and hits a single, he's not cashing this one just yet, right? Now, he does throw a ton of fastballs. We already talked about it. Semien does hit the fastball well, but Green's going to throw a lot of sliders, right? That's his next pitch thrown in there. And Semien's numbers against the sliders really do look pretty damn poor. And specifically against right-handed batters, Green throws them to the outer, low and outside part of the plate. Semien, his hot spots and heat zones against a slider, a righty slider, not even close to hitting those pitches. So I do like him under 1.5 bases today. Little juiced at minus 155. Hopefully we can get it right around there, but I'd play this up to minus 160. I do like it. All right, next up we have Tampa Bay taking on Pittsburgh. And you're probably looking at that being like, whoa, Tampa Bay is the underdog. And that is true because we got Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates, who's obviously one of the best pitchers in the league, so kind of makes sense as to why we'd be seeing them as favorites. He's going up against Ryan Pepe Le Pew Pepois for this Tampa Bay team. Now, in his first start, Pepe Le Pew's didn't look all that bad. 6 innings pitched. He did allow a decent amount of guys on base. I want to say it was like 7 or 8 guys on base, but only 1 earned. 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk, too. So, I mean, he didn't have the worst game there against Colorado. He kind of shut them down. Skeens, on the other side of things, lost that game against Miami. He did have 7 Ks through just 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. Like, he didn't look like typical Paul Skeens, we could say, right? So I feel like he'll bounce back today. I don't know if I fully trust this Pirates lineup, on the road at minus 120 to back him offensively. That is where my concern really comes in. So what are we going to do? We're probably either going to take a peek at Tampa Bay's team total under. You can get them under 3.5 today for minus 138. I don't necessarily mind that. Or we might just look at their first 5 team total under minus 120 for 1.5. If you do want to put something on, the game and involve both teams, I think I would also pivot to a first 5 under 4.5, but we've gotten burned twice in this series alone, twice by the first 5 under. So I'm a little hesitant there, but I do want to find a way to back Skeens without having to rely on that Pirates offense, especially going against Pepois, right? Like, it's not like he's a half bad pitcher whatsoever, right? I mean, he doesn't have the best numbers. Neither one of these guys have the best numbers against the current guys on the roster on the other team, but very small sample size. Only 13 plate appearances for Paul Skeens and 23 plate appearances for Ryan Pepe Le Pew. So, yeah, this is a tough one because I do want to get to the Pirates. I do think you're getting them at minus 120, which is a decent number, but you got to put your faith in that damn lineup, and I don't know if I'm ready to necessarily do that. One thing I will say, pitch mix wise, fastball, changeup are going to be 2 of the main pitches, the 2 main pitches for Pepois, and those are pitches that Pittsburgh actually touched a year ago, right? Like, they aren't the worst pitches for them. So if you do want to just say, hey, you know what? Bet it and forget it, Pittsburgh money line, I guess I could sign off on that, but I'd probably try and find a way to make it more Paul Skeens-centric. So maybe you look at Pittsburgh first 5 money line, something like that, right? Or first 5 team total under for Tampa Bay, yada, yada, yada. I think the more factors you bring into this one and the further you get away from Skeens, the more Tampa Bay has a chance to win this one with a plus number next to their name. In terms of a total, like I said, I'd probably look at a first 5 under, and then no major player props as of right now. In fact, let me just double check that, because now that I say it out loud, I feel like I did have 1 under in bases, and no, it doesn't look like it. So yeah, okay, no major player props as of right now. Obviously, if we do add anything in, I'll put it with the final plays. And guys, speaking of Paul Skeens, Underdog has a nice little .5 pitch count square over on their app today. I'm telling you, if you have not tried out Underdog, go ahead and do so. You're going to get up to $1,000 in a deposit bonus when depositing today. All you have to do is use the link in the description or the pinned comment, same exact link. It'll get you there, whichever one you feel is easiest. And you're going to get this Paul Skeens free pick. All you have to do with this one now is pair it up with another one or multiple player props that you like for the day. The more you win out of that entry, the more you are going to get paid out. And I've been saying this for how long with Underdog, right? My favorite thing is how easy their app and even their desktop version is to use. Like if you're someone that doesn't like the apps or, you're old school and you're like, I can't figure those things out, but you've seen Underdog around and you've seen the promos and discounts, which is what these apps do and obviously like kind of thrive on. Check out Underdog. It's that easy. You get a square. It'll say more or less with the stat. You pick if the guy's going to have more or less that day. You throw it into your entry. It's absolutely awesome. You can win up to 1,000 extra money over on Underdog too. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Throw this Paul Skeens free pick in there. Again, 0.5 pitch count. His first pitch of the game, this one cashes. So go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Yeah, that's a way to make it Paul Skeens centric, isn't it? Like I was talking about. Go ahead and check it out, guys. That link will be down below. Milwaukee taking on Kansas City here. This is a Milwaukee game yesterday. Cole Reagan's on the mound, though, for Kansas City to start things off today. He didn't have the best first game, 5 innings pitched against Cleveland, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 earned runs, just 5 hits, though. He only pitched, I think it was like 80 pitches or so. Freddie Peralta on the bump. He went up against the Yankees. Honestly, looked okay, right? Like, he held that Yankees lineup, which we now know is a fierce lineup, 2 runs through his 5 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts as well. I will say, I think this Kansas City lineup, after yesterday, probably has a little bit of bounce back in them. I mean, this is a team that scored 11 runs 2 days prior and then just 0 runs yesterday, and it's not even like Patrick was the guy that totally shut them down, right? So I sit here and I think you're probably getting some decent value for the Royals. You have Freddie Peralta, who throws a ton of fastballs, ton of sliders. The fastball, honestly, would be my concern if he's on with that thing. 1, it's filthy, and 2, this Royals team doesn't hit the fastball all that well, but they can hit righties. They hit righties fairly well last year, not necessarily on the road, but Reagan's on the road was phenomenal just a year ago. So kind of want to trust him. And again, I think you're getting the overall better team for, a decent price, right? This is a pick 'em today. So the fact that you're getting them, and I do believe they're the better team for that price. I think it's actually at -105 right now. That's probably the direction I'd go. And I think Milwaukee comes back down to earth a little bit. But in terms of a total, I do think that, both pitchers can pitch well, so maybe a first 5 look, but later on in the game, I think Kansas City can wear them down, maybe get some runs late, and then Milwaukee, kind of same thing with that Kansas City bullpen. So I'm kind of conflicted on first 5 under, but full game over because it's down at 7.5. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but that's almost how I see this one going as of right now. If I had to pick one, I'd probably just trust the information we know, right? Reagan's and Peralta, first 5 under, kind of trusting those guys just through. But I've already mentioned now, I think the Royals offense bounces back. Brewers offense maybe is getting going. I know a lot of people are like, they got going during the Yankees. You guys know my take on that. That 9-run game is worth throwing out to me. So that could probably keep me off of this one overall altogether. In terms of what we have from a player prop perspective, and I don't know if, I feel like just FYI guys, the value I do think is on the Royals, but I don't know if we get there necessarily because you can even hear it in my voice, right? Like you could ping pong back and forth and make some good arguments for both sides here. But one spot that I'm not minding would be Terang over 0.5 hits. The dude is off to a great start to start the season. He has 7 hits through the first 5 games here. I don't necessarily love the matchup against a left-handed pitcher and Reagan's for him, but Reagan's against left-handed batters, his batting average goes from 213 up to 276, batting average of balls in play over 340. His WOBA, Terang's WOBA jumps when hitting against the fastball. His K rate drops against the changeup, which would be the next pitch. And then the slider, yes, it's going to be a tough pitch, but he's only going to hit that like 12% of the time. So I do think this could be a decent spot for a guy that is just seeing the ball so well today overall, right? And you're getting -150 for him just to get a hit. Doesn't seem all that crazy to me. So we'll see if we end up rolling with that. St. Louis taking on the Angels. I think I have already. No, I haven't. I haven't rolled with it yet, but I almost want to tell you that I guarantee that I will. There's no guarantees in life, but this one probably is going to be a play. I don't mind the Nerfy in this spot. We have Sonny Gray on the mound going up against Yusei Kikuchi, which I think is a good look for both of these squads to just go in there and get the job done in the first inning. 6 outs is all we need, 3 apiece from each pitcher. Neither one of these offenses is all that impressive to me, and these two teams, had a pretty hard-fought game yesterday, right? Like this one went to, what did it go to, the 11th inning, I want to say? Maybe it went to extra innings. We'll say that. I know that for a fact. I think it was 11th, which maybe they come out of here a little bit tired after that game. Yes, this is a game that's being played in the afternoon too, so that could be a factor. But yeah, just I hope the batters sleepwalk for the first, few innings here, and we can get out of this one out of Dodge, because I do like that idea of a Nerfy. I also don't mind the first 5 under. I mean, we have Sonny Gray and Kikuchi against 2 bad offenses. Now, in terms of how these pitchers started the season, Kikuchi against the White Sox kind of got hit around, right? 1 home run, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks though, but 5 hits allowed. Sonny Gray didn't have the best of games to start the season against Minnesota, but it didn't look terrible. But I will say it's Minnesota, so I think both of these guys are primed for a bounce back type of a spot. Kikuchi's going to throw a lot of fastballs. That's a pitch that this St. Louis team struggles against. Sonny Gray, we talk about it all the time. He has a crazy deep pitch mix. It's like 6 or 7 damn pitches that he throws over 10% of the time, which is absolutely absurd. So not really worried about him. He'll probably figure out whatever he needs to do to get things going. And overall, like the top of the lineup for the Angels, as weird as it is to say, that's not the part of the lineup that I'm worried about. The back half of this lineup is very good at hitting righties. The top half, not so much, which is very interesting to say. But that's why I kind of like the Nerfy, but also the first 5 under. I'm trusting the pitchers in this one. I don't mind the full game under. I kind of want to put a little faith into these bullpens, but again, fairly taxed. These guys did just go to extra innings yesterday, so I don't want to stamp my flag there and have to ride that train. We saw a bunch of guys. I think it was like 6 arms out of the Angels bullpen. And then St. Louis, I had that up. I think they had like 4 or 5 guys, but 6 guys or 5 guys had gone the day before. So this is not a bullpen game for me. I like the under, but it's probably going to be a first 5 under for me. But like I said, my favorite spot in this one is going to be that Nerfy. But I can get behind a first 5 under. Now, we haven't talked about a side here. I kind of want to trust Kikuchi. I think that, when you have 2 pitchers like this, and I would say that they're somewhat comparable. I know Sonny Gray is better than Kikuchi, but Kikuchi, I'm trusting. He's a lefty arm against the St. Louis lineup. That is the way to attack them. For plus 130, I kind of think that that's the side to take a peek at. I don't know if I love the minus 150 look here. The only sort of version of this that I would say, yeah, you could convince me, is to totally back the Cardinals by saying first 5 under for the Angels or something like that, right? Like, I don't think there's going to be a ton of runs scored in the first few innings here, but to me, if I had to pick a money line spot, I think that plus 130 next to the Angels name is probably where I'd go, honestly. I have a player prop that I'm adding in after the fact. Haven't rolled with it yet, so it's not a final play or anything, but I did find it kind of post-recording, right? Contreras here. I don't mind Wilson Contreras under 1.5 bases. I don't know if I'm getting too hung up on the idea of, the under 1.5 bases early on in the year and whatnot, but Kikuchi against right-handed batters, I really do like the spot. Contreras' strikeout rate jumps against the fastball. We talked about that. And then his WOBA and strikeout rate both get worse against the slider, which are the 2 main pitches we'll see from Kikuchi today. So yeah, Contreras under 1.5 bases, also a spot that I'm looking at. And it kind of correlates with the idea that I don't think there's going to be many runs or many explosive plays in this game. So just wanted to throw that one in there. Keep an eye on the pin comment in the final space to see if we do roll with it, but I'd feel remiss if we didn't talk about it, and then instead of explaining it, I'd have to do a write-up instead of just telling you guys when I knew. You know what I mean? All right, White Sox taking on Minnesota. Man, we got some crap in the comments for rolling with Minnesota yesterday. They were down, and then they ultimately come back. Now we have Pablo Lopez on the bump, going up against Sean Burke, who, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I think Sean Burke has some juice to him. I think that this could be a decent pitcher here. So I don't think this is like I do, and you guys know, or if you don't know, by the way, I'm a pretty big Pablo Lopez guy. I know a lot of guys out there don't necessarily like him, but I like Pablo Lopez. I think that he's a guy that gets in a groove and can get unfazed by things, and I just like Pablo Lopez, okay? But I didn't mind, Sean Burke, I feel like what I saw out of him, which 6 innings pitch, he had only 3 strikeouts, just 3 hits. It was against the Angels, but that was the game we just talked about, right? When Kikuchi didn't really look all that good. I liked what I saw out of Sean Burke, as weird as that is to say. So I'm sitting here being like, are White Sox the move today? And then I remind myself, Ev, take your own advice, right? Eliminate all factors and blah, blah, blah. If you like Pablo Lopez, you like Sean Burke, I'm not sitting here telling you that either one of these offenses is all that great, right? What am I going to tell you? We'll probably pivot to a first 5 under because now we can just focus on the starting pitching. We can get, minus 160 odds, which is definitely juiced, but I'd say that I'm trusting both these guys and neither one of these offenses, and that's probably what we'll end up rolling with. So under first 5 would be my first look in this one, but I've also kind of putted the idea around of a nerfy here as well. I do think that the pitch mixes worry me a little bit, especially on Burke's side of things. He's going to throw a fastball and a slider as his 2 main pitches. Minnesota, those are decent pitches for them to hit. And the top of their lineup, at least projected today, which would be including Correa and Buxton, 2 guys that really do hit righties fairly well and those pitches. So I get a little concerned there, but Sean Burke a year ago, listen to his numbers against righties, .55 whip. 0.55 whip, you heard that correctly. FIP of 2.2, expected FIP of 1.8, average against of 154, and then a strikeout rate of 39 and a walk rate of 0. Hello, this guy kills righties, and this is a very, very heavy righty lineup for Minnesota. And I think we have bad weather in Chicago. Do not quote me on that. I'll have to double check. But Weatherman Ev reporting for duty. I think we have some bad weather there too. So this should be a low scoring game. So give me the first 5 under, but also just let's get through 6 outs here and take a peek at a nerfy. Yeah, we could have 2 nerfies on the board today. But again, I like it. I think that, I would be concerned, like I mentioned, Correa, Buxton, but I'm almost trusting Sean Burke that this guy is going to deal against righties. And those are the 2 bats from the right side that I would have some concern about, right? So yeah, keep an eye on the final plays. I don't think that I'll do both nerfy or first 5. If I want the value, meaning the better dollar amount, I'd probably just go nerfy. But if the more and more I look into this today, there's a chance that the first 5 could be in play. So definitely keep an eye on the final plays here. No player props in this one. In terms of a side, it's tough for me. Maybe honestly, I don't even know if I want to give a side here because I will. Plus 160, I could see the White Sox having a decent look here, but it would have to be in the first 5 for me. But with the rain and all that, there's too many factors for me to really be confident. So I do apologize for being on the fence here, but I'm not on the fence about low-scoring game or nerfy. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm being pretty straightforward about those. All right, Toronto taking on Washington. I think we can go through this one, I guess, rather quickly. Mackenzie Gore on the mound for Washington, going up against Easton Lucas for this Toronto team. No question in my mind which team has the better pitcher out there today. This was a decent game yesterday, right? It was tied up at 3-3, and then Toronto comes through late. Trevor Williams did his job, but Barrios, who I was kind of ragging on yesterday, didn't think he'd have the best game. He didn't pitch all that poorly. Mackenzie Gore in his first start of the season, wow. Wow, indeed. I mean, Philadelphia wins that game 7-1, but it was not Mackenzie Gore's problem. He went 6 innings, just 1 hit, 0 earned runs. Drumroll, 13 strikeouts. So if this guy is on, he is filthy. And we've said that in years past, right? I don't love backing him, but he is totally a guy that when he gets going, he is very, very good. And I see that being the case today. I'm going to look at Washington on the money line. They are on the road. That worries me a little bit, and it does. But in this series against Toronto, who now has 2 wins. That's looking pretty good for my Toronto team total over, right? Because they also took 2 against Baltimore, but they've already won 2 here. I expect them to kind of, at least drop 1, especially when they have to worry about playing Arizona is either tomorrow or the next day. That's not exactly the easiest team to go up against right now, right? They just beat the torpedo Yankees. So, yeah, give me Washington. I think that, Toronto comes into this one with the worst pitcher, and potentially the bats might not fully be there, right? This team against lefties a year ago really, really struggled. Some of the bigger names in their lineup, like specifically, I guess, Bichette and Springer, really struggled against lefties. So, yeah, I don't necessarily mind the spot. We're going to get a ton of fastballs from Mackenzie Gore. And again, if he's on, he's gonna be pretty damn filthy. So yeah, 13 strikeouts in night 1 was pretty damn electric from him. So give me Washington. Total, I would say that this is a spot where Toronto might struggle, but I kind of want to see what Easton Lucas has. Like, this is not a very good pitcher in my book, so I almost like a Washington team total over or just the full game over. Like, because I'm giving Mackenzie Gore's credit, but are we going to act like we haven't seen some, struggle bus moments out of him? And for what it's worth, 38 plate appearances against the current roster here for Toronto, just a 13% K rate, average against of 333, expected slugging of 513, expected WOBA of 366. So is there anything to say that Toronto can't get to him? I mean, I'm pumping his tires like I work for him, you know what I mean? But at some point, Mackenzie Gore does definitely have his struggles. So maybe just an over 8 could be a look in this one. If you guys want to support us and get some great merch at the same time, I don't know if we have these still available. These are from last year, but head over to GuyBostonSports.com/store or FadeMe.store. We have tons of products for anyone. We can fit anyone's needs here. And this is legitimate quality product, guys. This is not stuff that we just take crappy blank t-shirts and put a logo on or anything like that. Like, this is long-lasting, very good quality stuff. We put a lot of time and effort into it. So go ahead and check it out. There's tons of stuff over on the Fade Me store. We also have a new sales section and new items added to sale. So these are products that are just discounted slightly. So if you do want to check it out, oh, there's that right there. It's on sale. If you guys do want to check it out again, that is FadeMe.store or GuyBostonSports.com/store. Either one will get you there. Go pick up some merch. It helps support us, like I said, but this is like legitimate quality product. I don't know how to, it's embroidered. I don't know how to explain it to you without you picking it up yourself, and at very, very good price. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, FadeMe.store or GuyBostonSports.com/store if you do want to support us and get some great merch at the same time. All right, Athletics taking on Chicago. This is one of our dubs yesterday, and it was one that we really liked, and I'm glad we ended up rolling with it and we didn't lose any value. Today, I would just run it back doing the same thing. Like, this is a Chicago lineup that I think is much better than the A's lineup, and you're getting minus 105 odds. Now, from a pitching perspective, you have Jeffrey Springs up against Jameson Taillon. Can I sit here and say that I like Jameson Taillon? I think the answer to that would be no. So this is totally based on offense. And when we look at that total, it's sitting at 9. So there's something telling us that this could be a high-scoring game. And if this is a high-scoring game, I'm going to trust the bats on the Chicago side of things, right? So that's kind of my story. I'm sticking to it. You have Kyle Tucker, who is on absolute fire here. I like his matchup again against Jeffrey Springs today. The one thing that I will say is that he is a lefty, right, or lefty bat, and Jeffrey Springs kind of a pretty damn good pitcher against the lefty bat. So I would say that concerns me, but overall, this is a very heavy righty lineup for Chicago. So yeah, kind of like the spot here overall. You have Happ, who's going to be batting from the right side today, Suzuki, Swanson, Turner, Horner, and I'm missing one, I feel like, but either way, very heavy righty lineup to go up against this lefty pitcher in Springs. So yeah, I'm going to trust the offense. Give me the over as well as Chicago, and I believe there's a chance I had a player prop in this one. Let's see if we can pull it up. Cubs Athletics. Did I have a player prop in this one? Okay, I don't think I have it up. So if we do, oh yeah, JJ Bleday and Lawrence Butler. I had 2. Wow, under 1.5 bases apiece. Yeah, last night and early this morning, I was definitely in the bases trenches. Lawrence Butler has kind of had a good year so far, but I do like the matchup here against a right-handed pitcher. Again, I do worry about Taillon. That is concerning to me, but he's going to throw the slider and fastball. I don't think that Butler is going to thrive against those pitches. If I had to pick one of these, it might be the JJ Bleday look. But overall, with that total being high, these are 2 bases props that I'd be a little weary about overall. But yeah, 2 player props under 1.5 bases. But you can clearly tell that I was in a bases, tunnel vision mode last night and earlier today, this morning, because a lot of bases props today, clearly. This damn series. We got Houston taking on San Francisco. We have now rolled as final plays with Houston 2 games in a row, and it hasn't looked good. They've scored 3 combined runs. I mean, this season, 3-1-2-2-1 is what they've scored. This lineup is just, I don't even know what to make of them. Today, maybe a little bit different against Logan Rupp. Don't really love him, but they're going up against, Framber Valdez is pitching for Houston, and the San Francisco team kind of hits lefties, so that worries me that much. But if there's ever a time to look at Houston and like them in a spot, it's gotta be today, right? Like, that's how I'm viewing this one. So I'm gonna look at this Houston team on the money line yet again. I wouldn't pay it past where it is right now at -160, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I really can't find an angle to San Francisco other than this Houston team's offense has stunk. You know what I mean? So it's tough to see that, but give me this Houston squad on the money line yet again. In terms of what we have from a total, I'm hard pressed to get to an over. I mean, what have we seen from the Astros? I would say over. So I could see them winning like a 4-2, 4-3 game, and that's probably where I'd stay. So Houston in the under is all I have for you guys in this one. Next up, we have Seattle taking on Detroit, and I do have a play in this one. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I've ever rolled with this in all the years of doing this, and just all the years of betting in general. Don't know if I've ever rolled with a play in this category, but I like the first 3 innings under 1.5. We're getting plus, I think it was 114 over on DraftKings right now. Isn't that a weird one? First 3 innings, but we have Luis Castillo on the bump here for this the Seattle team, and we have Tariq Skubal on the mound for this Detroit team. Neither one of these offenses are two, offenses that I'm really all that afraid of, even though Detroit's offense has looked decent to start both of these games in this series. But yeah, Tariq Skubal should be able to shut down Seattle. I don't think we have to worry about that. And then I'm really hoping that Castillo, who does throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of changeups, sinker, and slider. Slider's the only pitch that Detroit hits well, and then Carpenter and Green are almost the only 2 bats right now against right-handed pitcher that I'm totally fearful of. But Castillo's really good against, righties, and there's a lot of other righties in this lineup for Detroit. So yeah, the lefties concern me. The thing with this it's a 1.5 line for plus 114 first 3. One swing of the bat, you get a guy on base, a home run, 2 runs there, boom, it's over, right? But I didn't necessarily want to pay the juice for the first. I think it was the Nerfy was like -165. It's too much of a coin flip type bet for me to want to go with -165. And then in the first 5 innings, you're looking at like 3.5, I think. So it's only 2 more runs for 2 more innings. Maybe that could have been, something that convinces me, but that's still 4 runs through 5 innings versus for plus money, 2 runs through 3 innings. So I don't know. Am I crazy? Again, I've never really dabbled in that category, but that's a play that I've already ended up rolling with. And again, I just wanted to get that plus number. So under 1.5 in the first 3 innings is what I have here. I would say because this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I do think Tariq Skubal is really, really good, I'm going to look at Seattle because they got the plus 110, and this is Seattle series at home. I don't envision them getting swept by this squad, just in general, I guess. I don't really believe in Detroit all that much, but I will say if you're on Detroit today, do not let me talk you off of it. You have Skubal at -110 odds against a bad offense. That seems like a fairy tale, you know what I mean? So that is fair enough, but I kind of put a decent amount of trust in Castillo, who I don't know if he looked all that great in his first outing, right? 5 innings pitched, he let up a home run, had only 4 strikeouts, but him against this Tigers lineup, I think I trust a little bit more today. Maybe I'm crazy for that first 3, but that's going to be the play in this one. But like I said, if I had to pick a side, I might look at that plus number, thinking that they avoid a sweep at home. But again, with a really decent line with Tariq Skubal against a bad offense, it's tough for me to want to fade that. You know what I mean? So I think we're just going to trust both pitchers in that first 3. San Diego taking on Cleveland. You have Dylan Cease on the mound going up against Ben Lively. Ben Lively's a righty, and that's kind of all I needed to hear in terms of where I would go in this one. I like San Diego. Their offense has been cooking. I don't want to pay -180, even though I think Cease is the better pitcher here, but this San Diego offense has been rolling. Over 3.5 runs is the answer for me here. They've only had 1 game in which they did not get there. That was against, I want to say it was it Schwellenbach, which is kind of crazy overall, but 7-7, 5-4-7 to start the season looks pretty good to me. Go out there and get 4 runs like you have been doing. You're going up against a righty. Almost wanted to roll with this yesterday, but didn't because of the fact that Logan Allen was a lefty, but they still did their damn thing, right? So yeah, this is going to be a spot in which I think San Diego team total over is the move. You're probably paying like -150-ish for it, but it's almost a way of taking San Diego on the money line, I guess, without having to worry about that price tag at -180. I do think that Dylan Cease is in a decent spot here. So if you want to kind of pivot and say, okay, well, I don't want to trust San Diego's offense to keep it going, but we can put the ball in C's hand against a Guardians offense that I don't know exactly where we'd put them, right? Like their offense has kind of been up and down. They have a couple good offensive performances this game and this season, and 3 really bad offensive performances. Maybe you could say, Dylan Cease, go do your thing. We take him either with his strikeouts or hits allowed or Guardians team total under, that type of thing. But I like San Diego in this spot, and I think the way to do that is targeting a team total for them. In terms of what we have from a player prop perspective in this game, I will say I like some unders on the Guardian side of things. Like Lane Thomas was one that I looked at, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and Ben Lively under 15.5 outs. I don't mind either. He's hit the under in 7 straight games here. Against San Diego, he did go over last time he went up against them. He threw almost 100 pitches doing that, though. Like, I don't think he has 100 pitches in him today necessarily, you know what I mean? So that would be a spot that I'd look at. That's another way to kind of back San Diego without having to worry about that money line. And they have a pretty damn fresh bullpen. So yeah, San Diego team total as well as Ben Lively's under 15.5 outs. I think that could be something that, I guess don't necessarily mind. We're essentially looking for Lively to only throw, 5 innings, which seems like it could be a decent spot to look here for me. Mets, Marlins, this Mets offense, I feel like I'm just waiting for them to explode. They did have that one game where Alonso hit the grand slam. What was that, 2 games ago? But yesterday, I really like the spot for them. I know a lot of people back Alcantara, and Alcantara is good, but I thought the Mets would put up a better number, and they kind of went back to what they have been doing. This season, 1-3-1-10, that was the game we talked about, 2 runs scored. So it's hard to sit here and say they're going to go off today. You do have Connor Gillespie on the mound going up against Clay Holmes. I think advantage Mets there. I would say the Mets have advantages all the way around, especially coming off a loss. Maybe they get going. So maybe this is similar to the Houston, thing that we keep doing where we keep taking Houston. It's like, what are you doing? You just keep bleeding. But Mets team total over is going to be another thing that I consider today. I think you have to go 4.5, but I don't necessarily mind that overall. I mean, you're in a dome, you're in a pitcher that against a pitcher that I don't really fear or worry about, anything like that. I mean, it's probably a spot for me to look at either the over or the team total over. In terms of where I'd go if I had to take a side here, yeah, it would be Mets, but they're priced out at this point, so you're probably figuring out a way maybe to look at them first 5 run line or even just on the run line -1.5. Then I don't have any player props in this one. It's going to be Mets team total over or nothing, most likely, and based on how this Mets team has been batting, I need to see more consistency before I lean towards pulling the trigger, because yesterday, bad decision. All right, Baltimore taking on Boston. I'm a little concerned in this one. You have Zach Eflin on the mound, who I do think is a good pitcher, going up against Garrett Crochet. And this Red Sox lineup, I think I said it already in today's show, right? I was like, I don't really know what their offense is. This is a Red Sox team that I watch every game of because I live in Boston. Garrett Crochet is a guy that's totally worth backing to me. I believe that. The only game they've won this year is the one that he started. Did he look phenomenal? No, but they came through for him. He's really good against right-handed batters, and we should see 6-ish righties in the lineup today, including Rushman batting from the right side. So I think this could be a good spot for Crochet, but the pitch mix scares me. He goes fastball cutter. That makes up 75, maybe even more % of his pitch mix, right? That's his stuff. Fastball a year ago, top 5 for Baltimore in terms of runs above average. Cutter, number 2 team in the entire league, so that does concern me. I will say Zach Eflin, fastball, cutter, sinker, all those pitches the Red Sox hit well, and he is a righty, so we could see the Red Sox pull this one out. Like I said, I'm a little bit conflicted. I don't think that it's a bad look to say, hey, go do your thing, Crochet, because he grinded in that first game. And if you've watched this guy when he was with the White Sox, now his socks are a different color, right? But if you watch him with the White Sox, this is a guy that totally can just change a game, right? So maybe Red Sox first 5 money line, let Baltimore get to the bullpen and late game heroics and whatnot, sure. Screw it, I'm going to back Garrett Crochet in this spot. First 5 money line for the Red Sox is what I'd look at. But it's tough because I think Eflin's going to have a decent game. So I almost want to say first 5 under overall, but then it's like, oh boy, the Red Sox are really going to squeak out like a 3-1, 2-1 type of first 5 lead. That's tough. But if I am backing Crochet, that is kind of where I'm going. So Red Sox, first 5 on the money line, as well as, Red Sox and Orioles, first 5 under. It's tough. It is tough to justify because this Baltimore offense obviously looks good, and they looked good in game one of this series, right? They scored 8 or 9 runs, so but they have actually gone, in my defense here of taking Turner, they have gone like high-scoring game, low-scoring game, high-scoring game, low-scoring game. If they're coming off a high-scoring game, maybe it's time for a low-scoring game. That always works when you're betting, right? All right, if you guys made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 39 down in the comments. 39 freaking minutes. You guys are absolutely awesome if you are hearing this. Truly do appreciate it, really. Yeah, I don't want to get all sappy and go on a long rant here, but nonetheless, the fact that you guys choose daily, or even if it's your first time watching, to spend this amount of time with me, I don't take that for granted whatsoever. So thank you guys so much. Make sure to comment 39 and letting me know. And I love seeing the recurring usernames and whatnot, and the community that we're building, right? Like, it's absolutely awesome. And speaking of that, there's a free Discord link down in the description. Absolutely free. Just about, I think it's like 12,000 people discussing their plays for the day and whatnot. So if that interests you, group chat with a bunch of new friends, check it out. But comment 39 if you made it this far in the video. We got this one, Philly taking on Colorado. Kind of a boring one. You have Zach Wheeler, who's an absolute stud in my book, going up against Kyle Freeland. Phillies should tee off here, right? They're making it happen. Even in that game, when was that? A couple days ago, in the game in which, I felt like the whole world was on their team total over, and rightfully so. They kind of struggled, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, let's go out and just score a bunch of runs late in the game, and they ended up finishing that game with like 6 or 7 runs scored. It doesn't surprise me, right? Like, this is such a good offense. They're going up against a bad pitcher here. What I will say is that total's all the way down there at 7, right? And I would say that that's most likely because the books are backing Wheeler. I would hope, because I don't want to sit here and say that, Kyle Freeland is a stud. And the Phillies crushed lefties, last year and even this year. So I would say that that's why that total is down there. But I do think what we're getting out of that is a decent line now. I think you can get the Phillies, over 3.5, which I would even go 4.5 in this spot, but over 3.5 for somewhat consumable odds, because of that total being that far down there. But I also don't mind the idea of, the Rockies, say, first 5 runs. You can get plus 140 for 0.5. I kind of want to say, hey, this Zach Wheeler is going to deal against this Rockies squad. 9 of their last 10 games. Just last game was the only one that the Rockies scored a run in the first 5, which is crazy to say out loud. I also did kick around the idea of Rockies under 0.5 in the first 3. You're still getting plus money there as well. 8 of the last 10 they have cashed the under there, but it's tough to find value in this spot when there's so much juice on the Phillies, and that total's down because they think Zach Wheeler is going to deal, which he probably will, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So this is probably a stay away game overall, but those plays are where I would look if I wanted to pick up some rocks and see what's underneath. Yankees taking on Arizona, one of our dubs yesterday. And we have kind of a weird one here. I mean, everyone loves the Yankees bats, and they still hit their team total over, and they're just an absolute crazy good offense. I don't think it's the torpedo bats. I'll make my official statement there. Like, this offense is hitting. If that's accounting for maybe 0.5 to 1.5 more runs per game, sure. But this team is just on right now, and that is a very good lineup. I've said that since the futures video that we did, right? And they obviously have some injuries that they're still dealing with. But my guy Zach Gallen's on the mound today. Did he have a good, first start for this Arizona squad? The answer to that would be no. 4 innings pitched, 1 home run, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, 4 hits. Everything was 4 across the board. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 4 strikeouts, 4 base on balls. So, yeah, he didn't have the best of performances. I will say last time he went up against the Yankees, which was a year ago today. Don't act like that doesn't matter. It probably doesn't, but a year ago today, Arizona won 7-0. He went 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. So I do think Zach Gallen could pitch fairly well today. He has 89 plate appearances against this Yankees squad in his career. 0.08 average against, an expected batting average against of 178, expected WOBA of 242, an actual WOBA of 159. So I think that this could be a spot. 1, to back Arizona again today. 2, anyone, can I interest you in a Yankees team total under? Maybe we'd have to go Yankees team total under first 5, because I don't necessarily want to, fully trust this Diamondbacks bullpen, which they haven't been that bad this year. But again, this is all based on me kind of trusting Zach Gallen. Yankees team total in the first 5 under 2.5. Can he get out of this game through 5 innings and not allow 3 runs to come in. If you don't like that, or you think I'm crazy, you probably could look at his under 2.5 earned runs. Gets you a little bit more, you're paying like 15 more cents a juice, but you do actually, have the fact that maybe there's some runs that come in that aren't earned because of errors and whatnot. So yeah, I think Zach Gallen could have a good game today. It's kind of crazy. I sounded the psycho alert alarm fading the Yankees. Sounds stupid, but give me Arizona. Give me Zach Gallen. Give me Yankees team total under. That's tough to say. Yankees team total under. You will not hear come out of my mouth much. But I will say I didn't even mention the Yankee side of things. The thing that I'd probably stay away from would be that Arizona money line, even though I mentioned it, because Carlos Rodon is on the mound, and he's very good at home overall. He throws a ton of fastballs, though. Arizona should be able to hit it, and Arizona, like I said, hits lefties well, so there is that. But I'm backing Zach Gallen today, even though maybe I shouldn't. But Zach Gallen, under 2.5 earned runs, probably is the streamlined play, eliminating most of the variables. Last game on the board, we have Blake Snell going up against Bryce Elder. Dodgers taking on the Braves. Simply put, I think that Blake Snell against this Braves team, decent matchup for him. Not exactly sure what we can expect out of Bryce Elder, and this Braves team just does not look like they are firing on all cylinders by any means, right? They're yet to win a game. They've scored barely any runs, so tough for me to want to back them. Like Chris Sale pitched all right. I mean, he ended up with, 3 earned yesterday, but looked okay to start the game. And they couldn't give him any run support. So to me, this is a Dodgers probably money line piece or nothing for me. And I don't mind a Dodgers team total over. But again, not loving this spot. You're going to rarely find value on the Dodgers this season. So I hate to end on that one. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Again, appreciate the hell out of you for spending this much time with me. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, comment 39 if you made it to that point in the video. Really, really do appreciate it. I know I keep saying that. I probably sound like a broken record, but hopefully you understand that I'm not just on YouTube saying it because I have to say it. I do mean that. So really do. Really, really do. But I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.